Welcome everyone. TheDailyWoo here as the recording of this. It is February 1st. What day of the week is it? Wednesday? Wednesday. February 1st, 2023. Daphne is here. And we are doing something I've wanted to do for quite a while. The filming locations of La La Land.
Yeah, oh, I'm so excited. I love this movie.
The amazing thing is, it came out in 2016. It's been 7 years already.
Doesn't feel like it's been that long.
Where has the time gone? Oh my goodness. And it's kind of interesting, I'll talk about it throughout the course of the day, but this movie is part of the reason, I lived in Orange County for a while, but it's part of the reason I moved to Hollywood Boulevard back in 2017. After, I'll explain it as the course of the day. But we're gonna film basically a lot of the spots. I'm gonna say probably 75–80% of all the spots from the movie, all around SoCal, not in order of continuity of the film, just in order so we can do it all in one day.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so excited to see all the places.
Because as you know, and I know, getting around SoCal on a weekday with traffic, kind of time consuming.
Yeah, and all the places are so spread out too.
Very, very spread out. But we're gonna do it. I'm inviting you to join me and Daphne for La La Land.
Shall you?
I have brought a clipboard full of a lot of screen grabs here. And where we were just standing at the Retro Dairy Mart is right across from the Van Beek, where Ryan Gosling would sit and look across and dream of the future jazz club that he was going to open, which is right here across the road. We'll walk over there in a moment. There was one scene where there's like a little montage scene where him and Mia go over there and they destroy the signage on the Van Beek. So we'll go over there and show that in a minute. But just to show the area it's in, it's on the corner of Magnolia and Clybourne Ave. The Retro Dairy Mart still has the same signage. You said this place has been closed for a while, right?
Yeah, I think since before the pandemic or right around that time. So it's been a few years since it's been shut.
It'd be kind of nice if it was open because we get a little coffee here.
Yeah.
And pretend we were Sebastian sitting here drinking the coffee, looking across at the Van Beek.
I'm so bummed that they painted over the mural that used to be here.
And there was a really neat mural of, I think it was like an orange.
Yeah, like an
orange grove. But here he is pulling in his kind of classic car alert in front of the drive-through of the Retro Dairy. And you can see even the distance, everything off on the side, the building over there with the garages and all that looked the same. And the signage that they built on, or they took down a little overhang here and built a different one. But he was basically just sitting kind of right over here at a table. And the mural you were referring to was right here where it says free parking, or free delivery, parking in rear. Now a sushi place. Has the California mural here, and then the oranges there. I would imagine they probably just painted that on for the film. And all the times that you've lived in LA, do you ever remember that looking like this here?
No, I think that they filmed it before I moved on this side of the hill.
Okay. Now it's just a brown wall. One more little view here of what it looks like. Look, there was more palm trees out front too. So you can see over there, a couple of the palm trees have been removed since that time frame. You can see our shadows today. It's been kind of overcast and cloudy recently. But today, well, now we can't see our shadows, but now we're gonna go back into, which is kind of fun because it's like, one of the main songs is Another Day of Sun. Approaching the Van Beek. Now, spoiler alert, he never did put his jazz club in this location where he ended up opening it. Seb's is at a different spot later in the film. We'll go by there as well. Address is 4403. Oh, there it goes. Tapas and Tunes. This is right before he took the top of that signage and smashed it. Right there. I really like the front of this place though, with the designs down there. And the doors are kind of very unique. They still look exactly the same as they did. One thing about that scene, you'll notice over our shoulder is a little security camera back there. So if someone did come over here and try to smash one of the signs, he could have ended up, getting a fine of some sort and doing some jail time.
Yeah, that would have been a twist in the movie.
Could have considerably changed the course of the film. It's also kind of unique that this is the same signage. A lot of times they'll change a building, but this is all the same signage and everything, including this over here. So 7 years later, well gosh, maybe 8 years, they probably filmed it in 15 if it came out in 16, right?
Yeah, they probably filmed it then. Yeah, and it's been closed for like 3 years or so.
It's just still sitting here. So really, there's some screen-used items here. Just still around. The tables are all gone though, where he was sitting. Kind of get that perspective, he was right over here. He would go out of his way, he says in the film, he'd go out of his way to sit here and drink coffee just so he could dream about one day owning that place. There's also a montage scene, and in that montage scene they show a lot of famous LA spots. I'll show a couple of them as we go along, but one of them here, Patty's, is right over there. So they used that in the montage. They didn't film anything inside, but that's the sign. We've eaten there lots of times. We are now over on the 101 freeway overlooking Hollywood in the distance, which you can see in a lot of those montage and driving scenes. Downtown LA off in the distance. And this is the very hill, the very incline where Mia gets her car towed. And she's at the top of this hill looking down at the Hollywood Tower down there. The interesting thing is the angle looking back, which is looking at the tow-away zone sign, is not up here. Movie magic, but this angle here is not at the top of the hill. It looks completely different than this. This could be anywhere, and because all the locations are so spread out, couldn't find any info or match up any street signs. But she walks down this hill, past the Hollywood Tower, down Vine Street, and into Hollywood proper. I was kind of hoping to match up this exact screen-used sign, but to no avail. In fact, I know it's a different area because here it is 10 to 6, and it was 9 to 6 on the other one. So it's a mystery. This is where she's standing directly in the middle of the street. She has her hands on her hips here because she knows she has to walk down the steep hill, and that is the incline looking this way. We thought about maybe standing in the road, framing that up, but might not be the smartest idea. As she goes down the hill, you see the Castle Argyle, located on the corner of Franklin and Argyle, and also where she walks down the hill is this moment, and it's actually in continuity and is able to be walked in real time. You turn here onto Argyle, and right over there is the mural she walks past. As shown here, this mural's been here for quite a while. See the cars, even the electrical box is still over there and everything. You don't really see the top portion, but you see I Love Lucy up top here. You can't really see it, but in reality, it's still there, as shown right there. Still looks exactly the same all these years later. I mean, it's only been, what, 7, 8 years, but yeah. Hasn't been tagged up or spray painted over. If it has, they fixed it up so it looked like it does now. Now over to the corner of Hollywood and Wilcox, next to Playmate Shoes, is this very famous mural for LA. It's like a theater, and it has a lot of the old Hollywood players, famous folk, through time, sitting watching their own films or sitting watching Hollywood films. And this was the exterior of Lipton's. Not the interiors, just the exteriors, where Sebastian gets the job and also gets fired for playing the wrong songs on the piano. He wanted to play jazz, and the owner of Lipton's wanted him to play Christmas songs, which he didn't want to play. I feel like that was not really showing his talents. But when Mia would walk past this mural, right over here, what is now the Muse Lifestyle Group, was the front entrance of Lipton's. And I have this photo. As she finished walking by, she hears the music. She hears him playing the piano in there, and she walks in the door. It still has those very unique kind of blocks there. We'll walk across the street to kind of look at it. You can almost see that pole still there and everything. I think the door is still the same too. I have a close-up of the door. We'll walk over. And you're hearing some music coming inside the door right there. And even though they didn't film in there, she does open the door. She grabs the handle and opens that door. But look at this. This has been kind of busted out here. So you just walk the same pathway as Mia did, going in You hear Sebastian playing the piano for the first time. And he just, there you go. Obviously in the movie, none of them are busted out. And they also had this kind of unique neon red orangish neon that they placed on the exterior of the bricks as well. So if you open this door, it does not lead to the interiors. In fact, it jumps over to right across from Warner Brothers, which we're gonna go a little bit later. I always think, what if she walked by here and didn't hear the piano?
That'd be an interesting movie.
Yeah. What if they would have got her, and then what if she didn't hear the piano, but she did hear the piano, but what if later they would have got caught for busting the sign over at the jazz place? I don't know, just a lot of what?
At the pool party anyways.
They would have met at the pool. Oh, that's right. They would have met at the pool party.
Met anyways.
She would have still requested Iran. What if she still would have requested Iran? I don't know. It's a lot of what ifs. All right, we got to get this for posterity here. In front of the mural, the walking mural there. This thing has been here for a long time, this mural.
Yeah.
In fact, one time it was kind of graffitied and tagged over, and then the city, every time that happens, I don't know if the city, someone will come in and repaint it and touch it up, because it's a historic mural. Not just because of La La Land, but just in general. There's a lot of famous faces on here. All right, let's move on to the next spot. While we're in the neighborhood, swinging by the Chinese theater where there are the La La Land handprints that were put here a few years ago. Kind of up towards the corner, like kind of over there in the little corner, right in that little section down on the bottom of the floor. We have the cast and their handprints right here on in the world famous Chinese theater. I figured kind of a nice tie-in, not necessarily a filming location, but you know, this close, you might as well show the handprints. I was reading something earlier, it's kind of interesting. So Emma Watson originally was going to play Mia. She was under contract to do Beauty and the Beast, the live action, but she couldn't do it. So Emma Stone ended up taking the role. And then in a nice, interesting correlation also, Ryan Gosling, so this is kind of a weird tie-in between all with the Emmas and the Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling turned down the role of Beast from Beauty and the Beast. In 2016, during the Academy Awards, the movie ended up getting a lot of nominations and won quite a few things. In fact, it almost won Best Picture. There was the whole mix-up, I think probably before the Will Smith incident last year. It was probably one of the biggest stories ever to come out of the recent Oscars, where Moonlight, which really won, was not called out. La La Land was called out. Everybody went up and made the announcements. It was kind of an awkward thing. We've now made it over onto Santa Monica Boulevard. We are now walking towards the end of the movie where Mia and her eventual husband, spoiler alert, not Sebastian, were walking, going towards Seb's. This is the exterior of Seb's, which was Sebastian's jazz place. He did not like the name earlier in the movie, but he eventually took Mia's advice and chose the name Seb's. They walked right in here. It's all being remodeled here at 6202. And they would have gone down some stairs. Now the interiors were elsewhere, but what we're looking at right here, we're standing underneath the awning. They walked in and they were walking directly that way. Now one way you can really tell this is the spot too is because when Sebastian pulls his car up, he pulls it up directly in front of this metal box. Notice that it has the lock there on the side, same lock, same metal box, same pole over to the side right here. And when he gets out of the car, after he gets out of his car, parks the classic car here on the side of the road, walks past his place, Mia's photo is on an upcoming movie poster right here on the side of this very wall. But there it is. There's her face on the side. There he turned the corner. The awning is gone. But this is it. Looks a lot different. They've completely changed the stucco and everything. Changing the exterior of the building. But this is Seb's, the exterior of Seb's. One last little frame of reference. So this parking meter, and you can kind of see the little indentation for the water drain down there, the water meter down there. That's that, and that's this right here. So just kind of like showing that. With the windows off to the side of these stores and everything. So that's more or less that angle right there. And a couple miles away, walking up now to the corner. Well, I parked down the way, I drove over here. I got out of the car, walking up to the corner of Beverly Boulevard to this place called The Jar, or maybe just Jar. Around this corner, in fact, you could see in the movie, she had made plans to go see Rebel Without a Cause and didn't realize that her and her then boyfriend, who she broke up with at this moment, had a dinner date with his brother, I believe it was. And you can see the tree here still looks the same as like she comes running out of, when she goes inside here. I believe the interiors were in here as well. But gets up from her table, says I'm sorry. She hears music. You don't know if she's just imagining the music or maybe it's really coming through the speakers and playing the tunes through there. I kind of believe that maybe it's in her mind and maybe she just wants to hear the music of the piano that Sebastian is playing. But she runs out of this very door. They had some hedges placed here. And you can even see this very unique tree that is placed there as well, as shown right there. And as she runs out, the camera is kind of like this, and it pulls back very quickly as she's running across. You see the name of the establishment, and then the camera kind of pans up into the trees. In fact, there's like a kind of a crane shot that goes like way up like this and follows her down the road way up high. And in fact, you can see that awning with the address 8225 on the angle as well. A very beautiful scene. When she runs around the corner, you can even see the little yellow loading zone sign that's still there, as well as the awning, and of course all the trees match up and everything as well, and the number on the awning. And then she just runs down the road into the night. There's only one brief moment here at the Chateau Marmont, West Hollywood, where you see Mia pulling in, when she later on in the movie, a couple years later, when she gets rich and famous and becomes a famous actress, she comes back to film a movie. And she stays here, as shown here. Definitely in that scene, a lot less traffic and a lot less cars driving through. It's just her one car pulling into there. Now made the commute up towards the Hollywood side of Griffith Park. The Griffith Observatory, when they got done, well, kind of sort of watching Rebel Without a Cause, the screen ended up breaking as it was getting started, like halfway through. She had a great idea. Let's just go up to the observatory. I kind of looked at this scene as more of a dream sequence than reality. In fact, you cannot drive a vehicle up here like you can, just like me and Sebastian did. So they drove along. So in Rebel Without a Cause, the vehicle drives right along here. These are obviously workers. These are not normal guests. And they also follow suit and drive their vehicle and park right up towards the front, emulating Rebel. That is the real life city of stars. Are they shining just for me, as the lyrics say in the movie? And both of them are kind of roaming around this little atrium, well, the little overlook here, looking for a door to go inside because it's closed. So they end up finding the door, which is right here, off to the side. So it would have been that big metal door, and they go inside and they have the observatory all to themselves. It just kind of hit me. It's been a long time since I've been up here, probably since I moved out of Hollywood.
It's been a while since I've been up here too.
There was one time you and I came up here years ago and we realized we could not get a rideshare vehicle back down.
Yeah, the road closed at like 9 or something, and literally took a taxi.
We had
from
to order
here
a taxi
down the hill, and it was like a $20 taxi.
to go like half a mile.
Literally, just down the hill.
So they would let taxis up here, but not rideshare vehicles.
Yeah, not any Ubers. We had so many like cancel on us.
All right, let's go in.
I'm taking a photo with the camera.
Oh, you're gonna take a
Looks
photo
cool
of
with
the
the Hollywood sign.
Oh yeah, Hollywood sign right over there.
Cool.
We're standing overlooking the city of stars from La La Land.
I hope y'all smiled for the camera.
I think they did. Also, I was noticing too, in all of La La Land, they never show the Hollywood sign.
Yeah, that is, when you said that, I was like, whoa. I wonder if maybe it was on purpose.
A lot of the scenes, a lot of the dancing scenes are really all long one takes. So you can see over here where they're dancing, and right before they went over by where that elevator is, they ended up standing right here in front of this little information plaque, and that's where they linked up hands. Even if you watch the movie, you can see the pendulum is swinging. And then they start dancing over to the side. Right there. And the Tesla coil scene as well, where you can see the telescope there off in the distance when they're like kind of walking in. Okay, you got the telescope there. They walk in directly this way. They look over at the Tesla coil. Sebastian kind of gets surprised by it. But here is the Tesla coil in that scene. What if it still works? Can you turn it on? They do the Tesla coil like every hour or so, so we just missed the testing of the Tesla coil if we didn't have a bunch of other spots to get around greater LA area. Probably showcase it, but heading in. Now here is the planetarium. Now they did not use the interiors of that. The Samuel Oschin Planetarium interiors were not used. They built a set for that. And since this is the exact spot from Rebel Without a Cause, I got the bullets!
Yeah.
You've never seen it?
Never seen it.
We're trying to recreate the scene. We've both seen Rebel Without a Cause many times, but in the movie they're having that conversation. I'm not the best actor. I pull off Ryan Gosling pretty well, though.
It's uncanny.
It's uncanny.
You're uncanny Ryan Gosling Valley.
Towards the very end of the movie, they're sitting on a bench in this little concrete slab that's next to a little dirt path walkway below the observatory. Way down there, and movie magic, they built, look at downtown LA over there. Looking great, but they built it right down there. Not a real bench and not a real slab when they're having their conversation about how they're always going to love each other forever. From the observatory, made it over to South Pasadena here on the corner of Oxley Street, where Mia's driving from a failed audition, driving this way, and she's kind of bummed out that didn't go according to plan, but then she remembers she has a date here at the Rialto Theater because she sees it out the side of her driver side seat window. Shown here to see Rebel Without a Cause, which is interesting. We just commuted over from the observatory, about 25-minute commute, give or take. One thing I like, even though she didn't show up, he just continued going on with seeing the movie. He just still went inside. Now this is a church building now. They're using it for a church. But right there was the Rebel Without a Cause poster and the ticket booth right here in the middle as well. I never realized there's a star down there as well because the camera is held more like this. But there's the top portion of the lights and the, not the neon, but the top portion of the marquee, looking up at it there. Also some other posters that were there. Farewell to Arms, Radio, Patrol, and they even had someone in the ticket booth right here. And I believe the interiors were also filmed in there as well. So talk about the opening night at the Rialto for the Centennial Celebration 1988. Fun fact about this theater, the interiors of this were also used in Thriller. If you've ever seen the meme of Michael Jackson eating the popcorn, the GIF is right inside here as well. All right, drove over to another area, dog barking over there. Parked the rental car here. Now this spot here, very unique with the palm trees and the mountain in the background. This is where she shows up for an audition, short-lived audition. She parks her car right here in this parking lot and then heads in, and the talent agent just needed to hear a couple lines and said that's good enough. She got kind of upset, and then the next scene, this looks like this building is completely empty now. She runs out, well not runs out, but she walks out briskly. This is the scene right before the Rialto Theater when she drives by in the bad mood and then remembers they're gonna see the movie together. And then this angle here is where she's kind of taking her jacket off. Very upset that she's not gonna get that role that she was looking forward to, being in the TV show. This wall matches up, and this tree, leaning tree, still looks the same right here. And then of course this, I really love this view. But you see the building behind it there. It's kind of overgrown now. You park your car right over here. And the boxes that are on the side of it, I guess maybe like a dumpster's behind there, but they've been busted out as well. The bottom portion down there, it's already missing a section. For one reason or another, this image kind of always sits in my head from the film. I don't know, I just always liked the angle of this at the mountains behind there and all that. Kind of as I was saying, when it comes to like moving back to California, I lived in Orange County for a couple of years, about a year and a half, from 2015 to 16. And then I bought an RV, I traveled, did things like that for another year. And I was visiting my sister who lives in Indiana, and my mom was also visiting, and they were watching. I had never seen it, but they put La La Land on. And as I was kind of, you know, watching it, they were showing a lot of the stuff around LA, like the observatory, Angel's Flight, you know, not the Hollywood sign, but Griffith Park, you know, all the downtown LA. And it really kind of made me maybe miss Southern California. And then I thought then and there, I'm gonna look up apartments. And I did, flew out and looked at the apartment on Hollywood Boulevard and got it. Not necessarily because of La La Land, but it definitely inspired me and made me remember how much I love the greater Los Angeles area. Now driving over the Colorado Street Bridge. Very iconic piece of architecture here. And this is during the montage scene when they can be seen walking across here. You see the street lamps and everything still match up. And this is what it looks like. They're doing a lot of road work on there too. Let's check out Classic Car Alert going by there as they're walking by. I think they must have taken the fences down to get this too, because there's like real big fences up now, both sides of the bridge. Definitely covering some ground today. We're going all around the greater Los Angeles area. You can see downtown's now way over there. We've gone around it. Now heading to Long Beach. These palm trees prominently shown in the scene, and also the coloration of Mia's apartment still looks the same, painted pink. Kind of a faded pink now, but pink nonetheless. And, oh, it looks like the foliage has kind of grown a little bit since then. When she walks out of here, first her roommates asked her to go to the party, and she says, no, I'm just gonna kind of hang out at home tonight. And then she gets a desire to go, and then she walks out here in her dress, meets up with her other roommates right here. And I believe the angle was kind of like that, where you see them all there. And I just kind of noticed, it even has the sign there. The El Cordova sign is in the movie itself, as shown right here. You just kind of see the bottom of it. And this tree over to the side is kind of in the frame also. And when they're dancing in the road, you see this bicycle emblem here. And they filmed it at sunset when the sun was going down, so the sunset's over that direction. And they filmed it all at sunset. The camera kind of pans up. They used a crane angle into the road, looking down. If you look closely, yeah, you can see the emblem there. The painted bicyclists on the side of the road here. Still there, so obviously the sun is not setting yet. Soon it will be. But you get that magic hour photo when they were right here. And then around back was the scene where Sebastian picks her up in his car. So we're gonna walk around the back alley and match up that angle also. And if you walk around the block from her apartment, right over here, this is the corner of 3rd and Gaviota, across from the Long Beach Fire Station here on this corner. This should take you into the back alley where Sebastian picks her up, honks the horn. He's known for honking his horn very dramatically, and the roommate even asked if that's going to happen every time. Mia said, I think so. This is pretty much another example of how you think it might be 2 different locations, but in fact it's the same location. Where his car pulls up. Right there. The electrical boxes and everything still look the same, and now there's no trash cans here. There's just a dumpster right over here that has City of Long Beach on it as well. She opens up the gate and comes right out. That's pretty neat. And here's the angle here. So you got the 4 bay doors. They weren't even painted. It looked like they were painted pink, or maybe like when I printed this out, it comes in a a different hue, but you see the ground kind of looking that way, and then that's where the car pulls out straight ahead. Now the interiors of Seb's, I went to the exteriors a little bit earlier, but the interiors are here below the historic Hotel Broadland at a place called the Blind Donkey. Not open at the moment, they're open later tonight, which maybe they're not even open later tonight. They may even be closed for the day. Either way, the gate is closed, but I'm gonna take a look up close. But they end up walking down here, so when she goes down this and she turns in, that's where she sees the sign that says Seb's, and she realizes, oh my goodness, my ex-boyfriend his dream has come true. But this was the staircase where they walk down, take a right, and go in. Obviously this is locked, so I can't get in, but yeah, this is it. In a place here, it's called the Blind Donkey. So I don't even know, it may not even be open. It looks like someone has shattered this window here. A couple different moments, in fact the last moment of the movie when she turns around and looks back at him and he kind of gives the smile, they both give a little smile at each other. And then also the dream sequence when it's almost the kind of like the what if happened. That's down in the basement of the Blind Donkey, right down there. Man, the ending always gets me. It really does. Always a lot of what ifs in life. The sun is kind of about to start setting. Pretty lengthy day of commuting all around LA. Still, Goodyear Blimp is getting a bird's eye perspective up there of the lighthouse here in Hermosa Beach, which is the jazz club where they first went and Mia got her first taste of jazz. And this is what it looked like in the film. It's also kind of neat that even in the movie, the business next door, the Waterman's Safe House for Surfers restaurant and bar, is featured in the movie as well. And you can see there that they both are. So there's Em over on this side and Ryan over on this side. The Lighthouse Cafe. It's kind of a wide lens where you could see everything in there. In fact, you could even see the Waterman's restaurant next door and all that too. Very distinct building. And when they exit out, it's kind of interesting because you notice in the scene, they both walk out of that door and they both go their separate ways and they want to look back at each other, but one of them looks back and notices the other one's not looking back, so turns their head, and as soon as the other one turns their head facing back that way, the other one looks back. If they would just look back at each other a moment sooner, they probably would have gone back and embraced. That's my thought anyway when I watched that scene. And I'm not sure, I guess you have to go around the front of the building and see if you can go in. It might be open. I believe the interiors were also filmed inside of there. I really like this neon. Also, the pier, the City of Stars that he's singing and all that, the pier is just right over there. So yet another one. This is like the third occasion where really the scene, two different scenes are really side by side and the continuity really matches up, which is kind of rare for a lot of films. I mean, a lot of things are spread out, but a lot of the scenes where they leave one area, she walks that way, he walks this way, he walks directly to the pier. Here's a little mural here. Oh, take a look, there's even a jazz band playing up there at the lighthouse. There's the stage of the Lighthouse Cafe. And there's Johnny Cash, I think that's supposed to be Johnny Cash right there. And there's a cat. All right, stepping inside is pretty dang awesome. It looks identical as it did. Again, it's only been 7-8 years, but still, it looks exactly the same. I can almost picture the scene when he's trying to explain jazz to her, how everyone's working synonymously with each other, but everyone's doing the same thing, trying to stand out. This is also the area where John Legend came up and offered him the job, the character John Legend plays as well, and where Mia was dancing over in the corner, and Sebastian was on stage playing the piano. This was featured a few different times, and even some autographs and things in here. There's a bunch of different autographs and signatures and a poster and whatnot, and it's located right next to the beach. This looks really, really cool. One thing I kind of noticed too is behind them when they're sitting at the table, it looks as if the stained glass windows were removed and replaced, and part of the stained glass window was turned into like a mirror over in the corner, but the door still looks the same. Really couldn't work out any better. The sun is setting in the same spot where Sebastian was up here singing City of Stars, picks up the gentleman's hat, gives it back to him, and then dances with his wife for a moment. I'll show this screen grab here in a second. So this is the pier, the Hermosa Beach Pier, right along the water. All the surfers out. And I just kind of realized it is already 5 o'clock. Been going since 9 a.m. And there are so many spots. We're not gonna get to all of them. I'm just gonna state the obvious. Will not happen to get all these done today. But, you know, just kind of wanted to show quite a few of them. Very spread out. LA and the traffic, as the day progressed, started to get pretty nutty. I don't think I've ever been to the Hermosa Beach Pier. Pennywise, I think Pennywise, the band, not the clown, from Hermosa. I think Black Flag also. Were you out here, or any of your relatives out here when they were filming that scene? Yeah, I just noticed that too, Seagull, that the lamppost, there are no real lampposts. It was all set dressing. There was no lampposts through here. The Seagull also noticed that, but yeah, the lampposts were placed all through here. They were not really here. So you take a look. You can see the cityscape off in the distance, just like it looks in real life. But all those lampposts were brought in to make it look like there were lampposts on the pier, and they really weren't. It is 100% magic hour right now with the sun glistening over the shoreline and all those houses up there. This is a great area. Those houses all got a pretty good view of the water. Pretty good. I was excited how the Lighthouse Cafe still looks exactly the same. I get excited about the little things. I really like the movie a lot. I really do. All right, you ready to move on to the next spot?
Yeah. I'm already ready for the photo.
You're already ready? We've been traveling. We've done covered a lot of miles today already.
Yeah.
A lot of miles. You ready? Ready for a couple more?
Yeah. 101 miles now.
Have you been counting the miles?
I think it's over 100 miles.
Have you been like adding them up? All right, let's get this for posterity. Now that the thing, we've got a lot of miles. You didn't know what you were in for. You were like, oh, I'll go to some La La Land spots. I love that movie. And then you're like, do we have to go to all those spots? All right, let's do this.
Okay.
Let's get it. All right, we got it. Nailed it. Now I've continued over to West Adams in Los Angeles. This is where she performed the play, So Long Boulder City. And it looks like it was, at one point, was an active theater, but at this moment, it's all boarded up. In fact, you really can't match too much up. Oh yeah, you can. Oh, so here's the door she comes out of, here. So this is the stage door. Here's the address too, 5253 West Adams. But this is when she comes out, really kind of a sad scene. This is when she decides to go home, and he runs a little late because he was under contract to do a photo shoot with the band he was in, but he wanted to see the one-woman play that she had written and performed, but wasn't able to. And this was used a couple times, once early when she went to rent the place, and then later in the nighttime scene when he ends up pulling up. He ended up didn't make it to the play, but he ended up showing up as she was just finishing up. The turnout was a really poor turnout. It was just basically her 3 roommates and Sebastian's sister and like 1 or 2 other people. But this is kind of good, even though this is all boarded up. This right here was the window that Sebastian knocked at. Can you hold the camera here? I'm going to reenact being Sebastian.
There's broken
right here.
glass.
Yeah, be careful of the broken glass. But basically, so here is, I'm going to try to show where here he is. So can you see this here?
Yeah.
Does it show up pretty good?
Yeah, it shows up really well.
So here he is knocking on the window, and that's the same window with the same frame and everything. So basically, he kind of goes through here. I don't want to hit that. So I hit it too hard, I'd probably cut my hand. And there's definitely broken glass there, but he reaches through here and knocks on the glass. I'm glad you told me about that broken glass, because I would probably cut my hand.
Yeah, sorry if it's shaky, it's cold outside.
Yeah. He was trying to get her attention, trying to get Mia's attention inside there, and then turns this way, and she comes walking out. She was parked right here, and very, very dramatic. Very kind of one of the turning point, the sad scene really in the movie. One of the sad scenes in the movie at that point. You see anything up there?
It looks like the place is gutted.
Think the place is gutted out?
Yeah, I was trying to look through there and it kind of looks like that it is.
Oh yeah. Maybe it is completely gutted out. I kind of wonder if they did the interiors in here. The interiors might have been in here. Maybe. Yeah, you're basically standing where she is, kind of off to the side there. But she closes the door, and then he's like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And then she comes over here to the car. She's like right here. His car's over here. Her car's here. She says, I didn't even make enough money to pay back the theater. She's kind of crying. Says, I'm going home. She says, you know, he thinks talk about the home that they have, but really talk about going home to her parents' house, to Boulder City. And I kind of noticed too, you notice how there's a lot of one takes in the movie, like long takes?
Yeah.
So you're basically standing where Sebastian was. She's over here, she gets this, she goes, no, I'm going home. No, I'm really going home. And then I noticed, like if you watch that scene, it's just one long, like 2-minute take, but when she comes around the park and gets in here, and she's sitting here, she can't find her keys for like about 3-second pause. And then he's standing over there. It's really not even that noticeable. Probably no one else has probably noticed that there's that 1-second pause that he does when Sebastian's standing right here and the car won't start. You know, as an actor, he can't break the scene. But as she finally drives off, then he's like, oh, wait. And then he kind of like leans down, oh man. And there's that one little second. And I kind of wonder if the director wanted to put an edit there, but he didn't want to do edit because he wanted those long takes. I don't know.
I think it kind of makes it more realistic because you're like thinking, what do I do? She's like fumbling, then it starts, and you're like, oh wait, no, wait.
Yeah.
Like tank
and then he's just left there all by his lonesome. His car right over on this side. So here's the kind of the angle there. So this is the nighttime view of the theater in the movie. And like I said, you can see that sign. I don't know. I really feel something when I see this little area here. I've watched the movie many, many times. And this is one scene that really kind of is, you know, noticeable when she walks out of here. It's a pivotal moment. And where her house was is way up by Six Flags. We're not going to go to it. But her house in the movie was not really in Boulder City. It was like, I think it was like up in Santa Clarita or in that area. I'll show you the kind of the screen capture. Well, not her house, her parents' house. And then when he ends up finding out where she lived, because it was across from the library, that's where, whoa, a light just turned on up here. Look at this light just turned on. Well, that's the address there. We're not going to go up to it because we're definitely burning daylight here. Oh, the light just turned off. Oh, it's like it's a little security camera. All right, moving on to the next spot, Warner Brothers, and then we're going to have a nice, delicious meal to end the day at the Smokehouse, which was the interiors where he played piano and got fired. So we got 2 more spots. It is now 7:30 p.m. Quite the day of driving around LA. There were still a few more, 3 or 4 more spots. There weren't really key spots that I kind of wanted to hit, but I guess the grand scheme of things, not super important. But we're gonna go inside the Smokehouse momentarily. For now, I'm gonna walk over here to Warner Brothers and talk about how yesterday I did the deluxe tour, and I just took a couple photos. I couldn't get to all the La La Land spots at Warner Brothers. You see the WB off in the distance, but I did get a couple spots in there that I wanted to show. I was able to see this. This has been repainted. This is when she's walking into the coffee shop. She was a barista, and this coffee shop over to the left here, and it was painted this color. It's been repainted since then, and actually they did some interiors as well looking out. And this right here is, they say, are the movies from Casablanca, but I asked the guide and he was saying that's not true. He said these were not screen used in Casablanca, but they stated so in La La Land, so fictionally, I guess they might be. And one more, looking at the Batman City Hall there in the distance as they're walking out of the coffee shop she worked out on the back lot at Warner. And that's what it looks like modern day. You see it's painted a little bit differently, but they did film the interiors in there, used a number of times in the movie. And then this is when they walk out and you can kind of see the Batman. It was used in the original Batman Burt Ward series. You see that in the distance as him and Ryan walk out of there and do their scene. And those are the windows that were used in Casablanca. What they look like now, pretty similar, been repainted and touched up a little bit. And this is when she was like all happy walking along the side as well. But pretty cool. That was over at Warner right across. And now for the interiors of what we showed over earlier next to the mural over on Cahuenga and Hollywood Boulevard. Well, I think it was Quank. It was a block away from Quank. I'm getting confused. It was over off Hollywood Boulevard, which is walking into Lipton's. It's really the smokehouse, the interiors of the smokehouse. And Daphne's getting a table, so we can go in and eat. While I was doing a little narration over at Warner's. It's cold out here too. It's kind of chilly. But gonna head in the smokehouse. Really cool place. I've eaten here a number of times, and I always think of La La Land when I'm in here, where he had the piano in the middle of the room, where he was getting the, playing the songs. The boss wanted to play Christmas songs. The cool thing is they put us in there's 3 different rooms here. They put us in the room where the piano scene is, just over our shoulders. A lot of people in here, so it's gonna be kind of hard to match everything up. But basically, she walked in the door over there, and the piano was set up over there. And you can see even the booths are the same in here, the same tables. But the booths would have this very unique, like red leather booths. Those are still in here as well. Of course, they had Christmas decorations up because it was Christmas time. In fact, when the boss was going to fire him, he goes, "It's Christmas time. It's Christmas." He goes, "Yeah, I see the decorations." If you're going to do La La Land meal, you might as well do it at the smokehouse. I can't think of any probably better other restaurant really that's featured in the movie. Well, I guess there would be the place that she like walks out of her date. But that, I don't know, you wouldn't want to eat there. You want to have where they had the memory of him seeing him play the piano for the first time, so that kind of makes sense. And it's a little chilly out here.
It's so cold. I'm really trying to picture that it's warm. Oh yeah, I got a lot of leftovers.
You got leftovers, I got a mint.
It's so
in my mouth. So we did La La Land. I'm gonna say we did 70% of the locations.
We did everything that we could do in a day, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, we went all over.
Traffic was a lot worse than I thought it was going to be. If this had been on a Saturday or Sunday, we might have been able to do a couple more spots. But
we got a lot.
Yeah, we did a lot.
Yeah, the only part that we can't get to for sure, you have to do like a 3-mile hike.
Oh yeah, so I forgot to mention the few spots that we could have probably done if traffic wasn't so bad. We did not go up to the area where they did the famous dance scene, the one-take dance scene. If the poster and the poster cover was modeled after the photo of them both doing the dance.
Yeah, the famous yellow dress.
That is a 3-mile hike.
Yeah, I'm not wearing the right shoes.
And if we would have done that, we wouldn't have been able to show all the other ones.
Yeah.
One day we'll go up there.
One day.
All right, that's gonna do it.
We'll learn to tap dance.
Yeah.
We can do it.
Maybe. I'll learn how to play the piano.
Perfect. I'll bring my tap shoes.
Sounds like your shoes are tapping now.
Right? Click,
all right,
clap, click,
I'll see you in the next video. The vlog.
It's over.